Cześć I witam wam ponownie na moim kanale. My name is Jamie, and in today's video I want to quickly touch upon the topic of which is more important, to learn grammar or to learn vocabulary. And so I don't want to make this video too long because I think it's quite a simple answer. In all honesty, in my opinion, vocabulary is a lot more important than grammar, because if you want to express yourself to someone in your target language, you're going to struggle a lot if you focus a lot on grammar and not on vocabulary. It doesn't matter if you use the wrong tense or the wrong form of a word, or even if you get your word order mixed up a little bit. The main thing when you're speaking a foreign language is to get yourself across to the other person and to be understood. And you can do this relatively easily, even with a limited amount of vocabulary, but obviously with more vocabulary, you can express yourself so much more. And simply by getting your point across to someone, as opposed to trying to make sure you get every single little bit of grammar correct, is a lot more important. Simply, if you're trying to correct your grammar all the time, one, you're going to be slow with your speech as well, and also two, you're probably going to be spending more time focusing on grammar and less time focusing on the vocabulary that you want to learn. And I think it's so much more important, in my opinion, to have a rich vocabulary for the synonyms and a good knowledge of adjectives and verbs and other group of words within the language you're trying to learn. And I just think if you're studying a language correctly by reading a lot, by watching a lot of TV, by listening a lot to podcasts, even if you wanted to do writing, it all helps your language studies. If you're practicing those 4 areas of language, then over time that grammar will mostly come to you naturally, and you won't really need to study the fine points of grammar in order to actually understand it. So I think it's just a lot more important when you're learning a language, especially from the very beginner all the way up into maybe a B2 level, maybe a C1 level even, to just try to completely ignore grammar and just to focus way more on vocabulary, on sentences, on phrases and that kind of thing, and just get a really decent and solid knowledge of the words in the language you're trying to learn, because that will help you so much more than trying to understand any single point of grammar. Because again, grammar can be important and obviously it has its place, and there's a certain time in your language learning studies when you should learn grammar, but in my opinion that's when you're at a really high level, when you want to then perfect your grammar, when you have a base of, when they tell you a grammar point, you know, and you have examples of what they're talking about. If they talk to you about case systems, for example, in languages like Polish or Russian, and you come from English, you have no idea what a case is, and so it's going to be really confusing. And so instead of worrying about each individual case, you can just put that aside, learn vocabulary, at least understand that there is this thing that you're not quite sure what it is. Be okay with the mystery and not understanding everything with the language, and just go along with it. If you see a word in a different form, just understand that that's another word that you need to try and remember in a different form. And quite often there are going to be patterns that you can then follow and repeat for other words, and so before you know it, you see all these different endings, but the endings will then repeat with other words, and your brain over time will just naturally pick up these patterns, and it will pick a lot of this up naturally without you having to worry about looking into a grammar textbook. I hope this video helped to clear up any confusion with this topic, but if you still have questions, please let me know down in the comment section below. I'll be happy to make another video on this topic or on anything else language learning related. So if you have any questions to do with language learning, please let me know down in the comment section below. With all that out of the way, dziękuję wam bardzo za oglądanie, życzę wam miłego dnia I do zobaczenia. Pa pa!